Abel Sanchez.
Thank you for showing up. I see a lot of old friends here. Sure, it's nice to be in LA again. A lot of new friends too. It has been a great ride with Gennady. 2014, a little interruption, but it was a good year for us. 2015, I think it's going to get to the point where these guys stop making the excuses that they've been making and get somebody in the ring with Gennady that will not only prove to me, but prove to everybody else that he is what I've been saying he is. We started training camp 2 weeks ago. Martin Murray, to me, is a very, very good challenge. I mean, he's a guy that's gone 12 rounds with 2 elite fighters, Sturm and Martinez. So we're looking for a very hard fight, but if Gennady performs like he has been performing, we should be in for a great night. Thank you.
First, I would like to thank everything come here and just the support very important for me, for my career, for my fights last year. I had 3 fights last year. I was happy with my performance with my team. I had last year. I had good experiences last year. Monaco, Madison Square Garden, and StubHub Center. It was a good time for me. And the trip to Mexico City, to London, to be my new WBC belt. Oh, I had a great time. I think this year is maybe the same, maybe better. I hope so. I'm training hard. My focus on Murray now. I think Martin Murray, he will be one of my biggest challengers of my career. He's strong guy, he big guy. I will be ready for him and for everyone. I think great idea for European style, for Mexican or for Monaco, and big present for everybody. Thank you very much for my fans. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you.
Robert, go ahead. Abel, can you just share with us what challenges Martin Murray creates for you guys?
Martin Murray is a guy that's done 12 rounds with Felix Sturm and got a draw in Germany, which does tell you that maybe he won that fight in 12 rounds with Martinez in front of 40,000 Argentinians, which, again, I think he won the fight. He's a big guy. He's a guy that maybe doesn't have the punching power that Gennady does, but he's a durable, formidable opponent that's got, 30 wins, I think, and just that 1 loss. So he's a guy that I know has been at that level for a long time, and he's not going to be scared of anything that Gennady comes at him with. So if he comes to fight, if he comes to actually win, then I think that it's going to take a little while to get him out of there. But if he decides to put his earmuffs on, as I've seen him doing some fights, he may get beat to the body and then have a quick night.
Greg, go ahead.
Abel, how can Gennady improve this year? What are you working on?
We try to take each training camp, and at the beginning of training camp, he and I discuss a couple of things that I want to work on different than we did in the previous training camp, just so that every training camp doesn't become a monotony. It becomes something that we're trying to work on certain facets so that when he does get to the so-called elite fighters, we've practiced about everything that we need to practice to be able to beat them. I'm not going to divulge what it is that we were practicing on this one, but for the last one was trying to go to the body. We thought we were going to fight Chavez originally for the last one, so we're trying to work on blocking the body shot and countering it and making sure that Chavez understood that it was something coming back at him. So for this one's a little bit different because Martin Murray is a different kind of fighter, but we are working on different things for this training camp.
Alan, with that?
Abel, you've talked about this since you started working with Gennady. A lot of times in boxing we think it's just trainer's hype.
but it's hard to define. But can you tell us why you think this guy is a step above all the other hundreds of fighters that you've worked with and you've seen? What, if you can put your finger on it, what makes him that extra dimension?
Or three and a half years ago, I sent an email to Robert Morales telling him that I had the next big thing in boxing in my gym. And Robert answered me like, yeah, like you would do most trainers. Yeah, sure.
Like I did?
Yeah, like you. I've had two very intelligent fighters in my career. One was Orlin Norris, who couldn't punch, and the other one's Gennady Golovkin. Two intelligent fighters that are very skilled, that are going to make you make the mistakes that they want you to make, and then capitalize on them. That is one of his biggest assets. The other one is he continues to work in the gym to perfect the things that we are trying to do. The foot movement and the cutting off the ring that people keep talking about, that's not something that he doesn't practice. He practices that every day. In order to get better and to make sure that we can deal with the guys, the elite guys, the so-called elite guys, that's even going to have to get better. So it's just a matter of not getting complacent and making sure that we don't forget anything that we practiced in the past and continue to practice it and continue to improve.
Igor?
Abel, so I remember the time about 3.5 years ago you invited us to go up to Big Bear. So my question to you is, how soon did you know that you had a special fighter on your hands?
I knew the first day that I caught him on the mitts. It very seldom, I've been fortunate enough, first of all, I've been fortunate enough to catch Ricardo Lopez, Trinidad, Samuel Peter, some of the big, so-called big punchers. And when I first caught Gennady on the mitts, I felt it all the way down to my toes. And my brain lights up, my eyes light up, everything like. And then as you start working with him, not only does he have the power, but he has the intelligence and he has the ability to do exactly what you want him to do and to practice the things that you want him to do. I told him that it would take 3 years. I think it took 3 years to get to the point where we had a title shot. I told him that it would take 3 years and I would make him the best middleweight in the world and the most avoided middleweight in the world, and I think we've done that. Now it's just a matter of not getting complacent, like I said, and just continue to evolve and continue to improve and continue to make sure that we give the fans, because I believe it's our responsibility to give the fans what they want, what they pay their hard-earned money to see.
Michael?
Abel, Murray's one of the taller opponents Gennady's faced. I believe he's about 6 feet tall. Actually has a longer reach than Gennady. Does that change the strategy as far as how you're going to fight the fight?
No, because Gennady will cut him down to 5'10". I think that I've never been the kind of coach that's going to adapt to somebody. They're going to have to adapt to us. They're going to have to adapt to us and make sure that they have enough ability or enough in their tank or enough gumption to be able to handle what Gennady's going to come at him with. Once Gennady hits him with one shot, he'll be, like I said, back down to 5'10".
You said so-called A-listers, and you've also said so-called punchers, like during this press conference. Do you think, like right now, with the way that Gennady has performed, that maybe he's starting to outshine like these so-called A-listers, and maybe the questions need to change?
Well, I think he has outshined them, but I've said in the past, and it's up to you folks to shame them or to ask the questions that you're asking me. Ask them why not. Ask Peter why not. If Peter says that he's not known, just read him the numbers. Freddie says that he's never seen Golovkin. Freddie's smarter than me. I know Freddie's seen Golovkin. And Freddie says that he's not known enough. Freddie's been around too long to say those things. But you folks need to make sure that when May comes along and he fights somebody, Cotto fights somebody, and wins, if he wins, that you ask them why they're not doing what the WBC ordered. Why are they different if they choose not to? And if he chooses to go down to 154, that's okay with us too. The fact is that Gennady wants to be the best at 160 and wants to have all the belts, and if Cotto doesn't want to fight him, that's okay. We'll fight somebody else for that belt. But the A-listers have to be asked those questions and be put on notice that this kid is here to stay, and this kid is the best middleweight in the world, and if he's not, then prove it.
So do you think that we haven't been pressing enough for that, or we haven't been putting him on the spot?
You're pressing, but you're not saying, okay, when Peter talks about there's not enough draw in him, okay, well, just all you have to do is just mention the the fact that he sold out StubHub, and I think that they went up 3 or 4 times in the seating, and does very well on HBO, and Ray can attest to that. Did 8,500 or 8,400 in New York? So every arena that he goes to, he's selling out. What does he have to do? Sell out Dodger Stadium before he's a draw?
Yeah.
Hey, well, I gotta ask you this. Can you describe a phone call where you call another trainer and say, hey, I need sparring for Gena? How does that work?
Actually, we've got a lot of volunteers, believe it or not. Tom's called me about 3 or 4 names. And I think the reason that they're volunteering is because they know that Gennady is not abusive. They know that Gennady is not going to try to take advantage of them. They know that Gennady is going to work with them and teach them, because of the other guys that have come before them. And you can talk to any sparring partner that has ever been in their camp. Gennady is the first to sit back after the sparring session and kind of explain to you why you got hit with a particular punch, why he's doing this to you, why you need to change. He's willing to teach so that these guys get better, and in turn Gennady gets better.
Next one. Please.
Abel, we talked about him being the best middleweight right now. When you look at the landscape, is there anybody that even is a threat to Gennady at this point? Who would that fighter be if you see him now?
I think that there's 3 or 4 guys that are a threat, but they have to get in the ring so we can find out. I think that Cotto is a threat because he's a champion and he's got a long storied career. He's a Hall of Famer. I think Canelo's a threat because he's young, he's strong. He's proven that he can deal with the big names like he did with Mayweather. May not have won, but he dealt with them. I think that Frach is a formidable challenge. I think that Julio's a big challenge. I think that Andre, if he ever gets all that stuff taken care of with his promoters and Tom and the people who come together for a fight, I think they're all a challenge. I'm just as anxious and excited about finding out whether he is the real thing.